Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new here. This is technically my first official book I guess video. I feel like my last video was more just introducing myself, the kinds of things I'm into, what got me into reading, and I'm really excited to kind of start off my booktube journey in the month of October because that is my favorite time of the year. I love all things fall. I've always been obsessed with the month of October. Halloween is arguably my favorite holiday out of all the holidays, and I don't know why. I think it's just always been something I've been super into, and my birthday is in October too, so I feel like growing up, maybe just having my birthday around this time of year, it's always kind of had a nostalgic and special place in my heart. Not that I enjoy getting any older by any means, but I just think when I think of fall, I kind of think of nostalgic and happy memories and birthday parties and scavenger hunts and all things spooky. And what better time to really do an official first video in a way. I think that is so fun and I'm so excited. I have so many fun videos planned for this month, and it's so hard because I feel like this time of year I want to read everything. And I know I typically delve into different genres in general, but I feel like this time of year I really want cozy, mystery thrillers. I want stuff about witches and coffee shops and that cozy stuff, but then I also want the really spooky stuff. I want the horror, I want the vampires, I want the zombies, I want the mysterious creature that no one knows about. So I kind of feel like my tastes tend to kind of expand during this time of year. I really kind of jump from book to book way more, from genre to genre in a way. I could be reading a cozy romance one day and then immediately go into the scariest book I've ever read the next. And I think that's kind of why I'm excited for this month. Those videos will be coming soon. I still don't really know exactly what I'll be filming during that time. I do have some horror recommendations from one of my really good friends, Scout, and she reads all sorts of horror books in general, and I feel like she's really knowledgeable about that genre. So I got some of her favorite recommendations, so I know I'm gonna have a video coming out about that soon. But I want to do more. I feel like this is the month where I really want to just kind of just go for it. I want to read all different types of things. Today's video is going to be choosing my TBR just in general. I try to set a certain amount of books where I just draw from my drawers, and whatever I draw is what I end up choosing. It's nothing based on mood or making decisions because I'm very indecisive. I literally just will draw the books from my jar, and that is what I will end up reading. And I think I'll probably end up doing probably 7 just from my own collection, and then that'll be 7 books outside of the video ideas that I have that I want to do. So we will go through that today, but before I start that, I just want to show you guys something super cool and fun that I actually got recently. I'm super stoked because I actually won my first ARC. I wasn't gifted it or anything, but I won my first physical copy ARC through this giveaway that was happening. I just have to figure out, here it is. And it is Alice Feeney's Beautiful Ugly, which is her novel that's coming out in January of 2025. And I just want to take a moment. I love Alice Feeney, and when I applied, or I guess signed up for this competition, when I signed up for this giveaway, I thought there was no chance that I would actually end up being gifted this at all because I never win anything. I'm unfortunately not that lucky. But I got this in the mail, and it honestly made me so happy. I just wanted to say thank you to, obviously, Alice Feeney, but then to Macmillan and their publishing department for even thinking up this giveaway and then gifting it. And then it came with this little thing inside the book that says, "Congratulations, thank you for entering our Beautiful Ugly sweepstakes. Enclosed you'll find your ARC and a branded magic 8-ball. We hope you enjoy reading it." And then they also sent this magic 8-ball in a separate little package, and it's branded. It says Beautiful Ugly on it. But I was like, oh, how cool is that? So this magic 8-ball might be making some appearances in some of these videos. You really have to shake it hard though. Should we ask it a question? Am I gonna get some really good reads in October? What does it say? Oh. Chances aren't good. Oh no, that is unacceptable. We're gonna shake this until it gives me something better. The stars say no. Why is this happening? No, 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 no. It needs to be a yes. No. This thing is rigged. Goodreads, Goodreads, Goodreads. Consult me later. Okay, one last time. If oh, this is not looking promising, you guys. It's like stuck on the edge. Okay, come on. Consult me later. Okay, we'll consult it later, because Magic 8 Ball's being moody right now, so we will consult that later, and it'll give me a good answer. I know it will, because I know I'm gonna have a good reading month. But yeah, so this one will be read pretty soon. I do want to do a video of reading it and just giving my thoughts before they actually release the final copy in January 2025. The premise of it sounds really interesting. We're following this writer who's trying to get a publishing deal, and he calls his wife to tell her that he finally landed this publishing deal, and she is in the car driving when she answers his phone call. And basically on that call, like, something happens and the husband ends up finding her car and the doors open on the cliff, and she just kind of like disappeared. We kind of fast forward into the future and we see him present day, and he's still kind of grappling with his grief with not knowing what happened to his wife because she just disappeared without a trace. He ends up going to a tiny Scottish island to, I think, work on his book, or just kind of like focus on himself after all this, and he sees someone that looks just like his wife while he's there. So now obviously it leads to a lot of questions because he is still trying to figure out what happened to his wife, and all of a sudden she's there. Like, that's so strange. But I think it's such an interesting premise, and I'm very, very excited to read it, and I do think that the cover is very pretty. So yes, thank you so much to Alice Feeney and Macmillan Books, specifically Flatiron Book. I'm super stoked to have this in my hand. For my first pick, I think we're gonna do the nonfiction, from the nonfiction jar. My goal is to try and read one nonfiction book a month. I've been failing miserably at that in 2024, but what a time to start in October, right? And also because the jar is just so fitting. Look at this skull. Let's take a moment. It is just spectacular. So we're gonna shake this up. We're gonna shake it really good. And I have a hard time fitting my whole hand in here, so we're just gonna have to make do. What do we have? Nickel and Dimed by Barbara Ehrenreich. I think this is a financial book, if I'm being completely honest. So in general, I don't really get excited about nonfiction books, but I definitely know that there's a benefit to them, and I feel like you can learn a lot from them. But I would be lying if I said I was excited to read this. But I'll give it a try, and if I don't like it, then there might be an October DNF. Maybe the Magic 8 Ball was onto something. I'll give it a try. I'll show you guys what this looks like. To be honest, I don't think it'll focus, so I might just have to put it up on the screen. The nonfiction one. Yay. I feel like I'm going to change my attitude before that. And then this next jar is my fiction jar with my makeshift candle lids. That way the cats don't go into the jar. It actually works pretty well. I'm going to shake this. It smells like a vanilla cookie because of the candle. And we are gonna draw 6 from here. I'm actually gonna dig in pretty deep. All right, oh my gosh, I'm actually so excited for this because over on the BookTok world, Haley, I can't think of her last name, what Hales is reading or something like that, she loves this book. It's like one of her favorite books, and when she talked about it, I went to go pick it up, and I'm actually very excited by it. And it's When We Lost Our Heads by Heather O'Neill, and the cover is very pretty. I'll show you guys all of these books now, and then I will grab them from my shelves, and then we can talk about them. I'm so excited for that one. When I picked it up, I was really excited for it. It smells so good. It's making me hungry because I didn't really eat today, so like smelling like cookies, I'm like, ooh, time to eat. All right, Emma in the Night by Wendy Walker, which I think will be very fitting because I think this is kind of like a mystery thriller. And I think I feel like I've read it before, but I don't remember. And one of the goals, obviously, of me working through some of my TBR is I also want to make sure I have books that I actually love and enjoy on my shelves. So if I did read it and I can't really remember it, I feel like that's kind of like a sign it shouldn't be on my shelf. But I want to reread it because if I did read it, it's probably been several years by now, and I do think that my reading taste kind of evolves over time. So I'm very curious about that one, and if I'll end up actually keeping it or if it'll end up in a book on haul video later down the road. All right, book number 3, and then we're gonna take a little mini drink break because this is making me really hungry, so I feel like maybe I need to drink water or something. All right, How Lucky by Will something. The letters are too small in the little book. It has a little house on it, which is super cute. I like when books are colorful or like they kind of have like something to it and it's not just like a boring black and white book, you know? There's a time and a place, but there's too many of them out there. So, all right, interrupting this broadcasting. This is not obviously sponsored because I have not been here long enough to achieve any of that. Yes, Blue, I know, please don't make me feel bad about it, okay? I'm trying my best. But I saw this at the store and I was like, oh, this is kind of like fitting for fall season, and it's a spiced apple Waterloo. It's a sparkling water, and I've never tried it. So you're gonna get a live reaction right here, right now. What smells good? That is pretty good. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, I like that. That box may not last very long. Hi, Blue. See, my cats always like to interrupt the filming for some reason. I don't understand what it is. Like, they can hang out in this room all day. I work, it's fine. But as soon as this microphone comes out and I sit down in this chair, they have to be involved and they make themselves known. But then if I lock them outside the door, then they just cry and cry and cry and I feel bad. Let's go for book number 4. Oh, okay. Well, I guess we won't have the lid for the rest of this, so I'll just have to use my hand to make the move. All right. Oh shoot, I can't read this one yet. I can't, because I'm kind of reading them somewhat in order. What I drew was Brandon Sanderson's Rhythm of War, which first of all, that's not the first in a series, which is fine because I would read the first one. But I'm working my way through the Cosmere books, and the next one I have to read is actually supposed to be Warbreaker, which is like a standalone, but it's in the Cosmere world. So I'm gonna keep this out because maybe that's what I'll read, because I know I need to work through it because there is a new Brandon Sanderson coming out at the end of December, and I'm trying to get caught up so that way I can read it when it comes out because I have it pre-ordered. So I feel like I need to read Warbreaker next. That's just like a sign. And then this will go back into the jar. It's just kind of like a denoting thing for me that like, oh, I need to read the next one in the Cosmere world. So that was number 4. Number 5 is Rabbits by Terry Miles. And I just got this one. More of a cover buy, to be honest. I couldn't even really tell you what it's about, but I'm excited. One more, though, I'll grab the books, and this will be my for sure TBR for October outside of the video ideas that I have. Oh, Gone Girl by Gillian Flynn. This will be a reread. It's been a long time since I read it, and I know I read it, and then I watched the movie, and obviously that was years ago now. And it's just such a classic, and I feel like it has been long enough now where I probably could read it and get some enjoyment out of it. And then maybe after I'm done reading, maybe I'll decide like, oh, I've read it enough times now, it's time to get rid of it. Or, you know, maybe I decide to keep it because it's just a classic. But we're going to take a brief break. I am going to go grab those and we'll come back. All right, I think we're gonna go through the staff that I have here, and I have a couple more on the floor that we'll end. The first one that we are gonna talk about that I will be reading in October, these, I'm gonna read them in no rhyme or reason order, but these are just the books I have to get through. And that one was the nonfiction book, which is Nickel and Dimed by Barbara Ehrenreich, and I hope I'm saying that correctly. By the time I do a wrap up, I will figure out how to say some of these names if I am stumbling through them right now. But I was kind of right. It is kind of about finances, but I think we are following this woman, Barbara, as she attempts to figure out how to live and like make a living while working as a waitress, a hotel maid, house cleaner, nursing home aide, and a Walmart associate. Wow, why am I saying these words so funny? So I think we're just getting a first-hand account into Barbara's life and how she's trying to make a living, having all these different jobs, and how to survive in today's America. And I know it sold a lot of copies because it says it in the back. It says it has sold more than 2 million copies. And I'm kind of curious, because I know this is like an older book, how relevant it is. 2001. Finances and things have changed so much in the US since 2001, so I'm very curious to see where this one's going to go and what my thoughts are on it. I'll have to ask Adrian if he's read it and what his thoughts are. If you've read this, please let me know. Do you like it? A. And B, is this still relevant? Please let me know. Alright, this next one, this is the one that I said is a really pretty cover, is Where We Lost Our Heads by Heather O'Neill. And I believe we're going to be following these two women. I think it's in 19th century Montreal, and we're following their friendship over the years. We're following a wealthy kind of like socialite. Her name is Marie, and then we're following her friend Sadie. And it kind of sounds, and I'm not 100% sure in this, but it sounds like Sadie may not be as wealthy as Marie, and their families are kind of trying to keep their friendship from happening. They're kind of like trying to set rules and guidelines on how they can be friends, and they don't really want them hanging out. But we follow Marie and Sadie throughout their lives and kind of getting to see the different aspects and perspectives of both of their lives and just kind of how it affects their friendship over time. The kind of things that they get into, the schools that they go to, and just kind of how it affects their upbringing. And the thing at the end says that it's like an exploration of gender, sex, desire, class, and the terrifying power of the human heart when it can't let someone go. And like I said, I saw what Hales is reading, I think is what it is, on TikTok. She loves this book. She talks about it with so much love and respect. And I really feel like I'm going to enjoy this. And the cover it's absolutely stunning. And it's been blurbed by a lot of people. It's been blurbed by Emily St. John Mandel, by Mona Awad. And yeah, I am really intrigued about this one. And just about Heather O'Neill's writing, because I've never read anything by her. So, wow. I just disrespected that book so hard. I'm so sorry. There's not enough room to set everything down. Alright, this next one I've had for a while, and I'm kind of glad I'm getting to it because, first of all, I like the cover a lot. There's something about it. It's so simple, but I really enjoy it, and that is How Lucky by Will Leitch. And I totally forgot what this one was about. I just read the inside cover just to kind of get an idea what the premise would be, and we are following our main character, Daniel, and he lives in Georgia. I think he works for an airline, but he works from home with this airline because he has some sort of disability that has left him in a wheelchair, and he has, I think, communicate. He's unable to speak or move without his wheelchair. So he's kind of like wheelchair bound. He lives at home. It sounds like he might have like the same routine. So there's this like one woman in his neighborhood that he sees walk past his house every day, and he's gotten into a routine of watching her. And then one day he sees that she's seemingly being kidnapped. So I think we're gonna like follow him and his experience. And I'm really actually curious about the disability representation in this book. And just getting to have this perspective, I think, is like a unique take that I haven't really read about before. So I am curious, and I've had this book for a really long time, like years now at this point. And this was published in 2021. So I probably got it right when it came out. To be honest, it probably was sitting on a table and I was like, oh, I like the colors and I like the house, and I probably had no really clear indication of what this was about when I bought it. I'm definitely intrigued by the premise, but just knowing myself, I feel like this is probably a cover buy. And I was like, oh, I don't have anything this color on my shelves, and it has a house on it, and I liked how simple it was and kind of had like cartoonesque features. But yeah, I'm excited to read this, and I will definitely let you guys know what I think. So this next one, I don't know if I read this now. I think I may have read this and I forgot. But when I read the inside cover and the premise of it, I don't think I read this. And I don't know why I think I read it. This is Emma in the Night by Wendy Walker. And we are following two characters, Cass and her sister Emma. And they are at the beach one night and basically they disappear. Their family car is found there. And Cass and, what's her name? Emma? Dolls. Her name is on the cover. But okay, so Cass and Emma are at the beach. They end up like disappearing into thin air. They find the abandoned car at the beach, and years pass. I think it's like 3 years pass, and all of a sudden Cass is back, and she's not with Emma. And there are a lot of questions, and she kind of like weaves this tale about how she was on this island, and kind of like the story she's telling is kind of almost too far-fetched to be believed. And they have this psychologist that comes in and is analyzing Cass specifically for narcissistic personality disorder, because I think there's something going on with Emma and Cass's mom, and like the family is really being scrutinized, and just knowing like their mental health history that runs in the family. So now I think it's going to be like an exploration and almost investigation into all of the characters in the family to try and figure out what actually happened and if what Cass is saying is true. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm very, very intrigued. I didn't realize that this would be kind of talking about mental health and like a mental health disorder, and I'm actually really intrigued. There's so much cat fur on the top of this, I'm so sorry. But I'm actually very intrigued to see what it says about it and just kind of where this is gonna go. I didn't think this was a psychological thriller, and I think that's what it's gonna end up being. So I'm very, very intrigued by this one. Obviously, the classic Gone Girl by Gillian Flynn. You can tell this is a used copy. I got this, I think, at like a book sale or like a yard, like a garage sale when I was younger. I read the book before I watched the movie, and I do think this is actually the cover is from the movie, which I normally don't like books that have that type of imagery presented on it. But I do remember I read the book before I watched the movie. I did remember I liked the book better than I liked the movie. I feel like that's kind of typical for a lot of us bookish people, just because there's a lot of details that you cannot always encapsulate in the movie. There's just not enough time, budget, whatnot. But I do remember being really intrigued by it. If you happen to have not read this book, I do recommend. It is a classic. I would recommend reading this before you watch the movie. But we are following this couple. They're celebrating their 5th wedding anniversary. They're kind of like this picture perfect couple in the community. Everyone kind of looks up to them. They seem like they have like this perfect marriage until the wife disappears. And as they start to investigate and they talk to the husband, they realize that there are some secrets that they've been kind of keeping on the down low, that the husband may not be who he says he is, and they're trying to figure out if he's somehow involved in the disappearance of his wife. So I do recommend. I'm excited. It's been a really long time since I've read this. I don't think I've read it since high school, so it's been like several years at this point. So I'm excited to revisit this one. All right, my other stack on the floor. So because I pulled The Rhythm of War by Brandon Sanderson, and that's kind of like in the middle of the Stormlight archives, and that's something I'm trying to get towards, but because I pulled that, I was like, oh, I feel like I kind of just means I need to read the next thing I wanted to read in the Cosmere. Technically, the next thing I want to read in the Cosmere is part of the Arcanum Unbounded, which is like short stories that are kind of set in the Cosmere. And the Cosmere is the world, if you don't know this, but it's set in the Cosmere, and I know there are short stories in here that I need to read because I read it out of order because I didn't have this yet. So I know I need to look into this and read a few from here because I've already read Elantris, so I've kind of read it out of order. And there's not really an order. I mean, Brandon Sanderson has like had recommendations. I follow the recommendations of a couple Reddit pages and a YouTube channel. They just kind of like gave their take on the order, so I've just kind of been reading it in that way. So that way I can pick up on the little eggs and nuggets of hints that Brandon Sanderson drops that starts to tie all these different worlds and characters together in the Cosmere sphere. But then after I read all the short stories in here, I do want to read Warbreaker by Brandon Sanderson. I read the back, but I kind of, to be honest, I just skimmed it. All I know is that one of my friends, Ryan, is really into Brandon Sanderson and his work, and he loves Warbreaker. And all I really need to know about going into this is that the magic system in this world has to do with colors. And I'm really intrigued by that, and that's kind of all I really want to know going into it, because Brandon Sanderson is such a strong writer. He has such a strong sense of world building that I don't really think I need to know exactly what's going to happen, because he's going to spell it out for me. I'm going to have a great time just immersing myself in this world. And yeah, I'm just so excited. And look at that, it has colors. It has colors. I'm so excited. I like the idea of it. This last one I know I got this because of the cover. It's Rabbits by Terry Miles, and I was like, it's a book called Rabbits, and it has a colorful rabbit on the cover. So that's why I got it. But now I am so intrigued by this. This is basically about like this underground game that's supposed to be deadly. And it has to do, I think, with like numbers. You check the clock after you're wrapping up a task. It's 4:44 p.m. Then you check your email. You have 44 unread messages. Then you realize the date is 4/4, April 4th. And then you get in your car to drive home and your odometer reads 44,444. So then it's like, is that a coincidence or is that a rabbit hole? And the rumor is that this game has to do with like these numbers lining up and this coincidence. And this is kind of how, like, if you win this game, there's only like a select few that have won this game and then they've won this prize. Who wants to play it? I was like, what is that noise? She's bringing her toy into here. But then like if you like win, you could become a CIA agent, you could have all this wealth and all this stuff. But then there's also kind of like rumors that this game is sinister, that if you lose, you kind of are, you know, eliminated, and you realize that players have died in the past. The body count is rising. And we're going to be following this obsessive player, Kay, who's been trying to find a way into the game for like years, and all of a sudden this like sinister plot is kind of brought up, and someone loops him in, is like, we need your help because something's seriously wrong with the game. What is this game? I need to know what this game is. Like, I'm so intrigued by this premise. I'm like so into it. And you'll have to let me know if you read it, because I got this, I think, from a book outlet, and I didn't look up reviews, because if you guys watched my first video, I really don't base whether I'm going to read a book off of the Goodreads reviews. The only time I've been nervous has been with Nothing But Black and Teeth, because it had a really, really, really low Goodreads score, but I ended up giving that 4 stars. So to me, I just feel like just because someone else loved it doesn't mean that I'm going to, and just because someone else hated it doesn't mean that I'm going to. So I normally don't let the Goodreads rating score like deter me. So I don't even know, but I'm very, very curious if you guys have read this and if you liked it, because the premise sounds so, so good. It sounds so good. This might be honestly one of the first ones I read in October. I'm not gonna lie, because I need to know more about this game. Like, I need to. We have Rabbits, Warbreaker, Arcanum Unbounded, Gone Girl, Emma in the Night, How Lucky, When We Lost Our Heads, and Nickel and Dimed. And that is quite a nice stack going into October, and I'm pretty optimistic and excited. I think it's a really well-rounded selection, actually. I was kind of nervous I was going to pull like all romance or all historical fiction, and I wouldn't have anything kind of thrillery or like dystopian-esque or like mind-bending psychological things. And I actually feel like that's a pretty well-rounded selection. It's going to be a good month. I can just feel it. But thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys have a great October reading, and I will see you guys soon with my next video, which I'm so excited to share. I don't know what it is yet, but I'm so excited to share it still. But I hope you guys have fun reading and have a good one. Bye.